Have you ever found it difficult to let go of a relationship or a career path or a business that was no longer serving you? It's not uncommon, and it might be due to what is known as the sunk cost fallacy. In this video, we're going to explore the psychology behind the sunk cost fallacy, how it impacts our decision-making process, the negative consequences of falling into this mental bias, and how to get out of its trap. So, first of all, what exactly is the sunk cost fallacy? It's the tendency to continue investing in something that is not providing the desired returns simply because you've already invested so much time, effort, money, energy, or resources into it. This fallacy can be applied to various areas of life, such as relationships, investments, communities, and your career. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias that affects the way that we make decisions. Our brain tends to overvalue the things that we've already invested in, even if it's not worth it anymore. And this makes us more likely to keep going even when we should stop. So for example, imagine that you've bought a ticket to a movie that you're not enjoying at all. You might feel like you have to stay until the end because you've already paid for that ticket, even though leaving early would be a better use of your time and money. That's the sunk cost fallacy in action. This attachment causes us to overvalue our investments and clouds our judgment, making it difficult to see when it's time to cut our losses and move on. We become emotionally invested in the sunk costs, and the thought of abandoning them can cause a lot of anxiety and fear. So it's important to understand this fallacy to make better decisions and avoid falling into the trap of sunk costs. So here are some common examples of the sunk cost fallacy in action. For example, continuing to invest in a failing business or project hoping that things will turn around, or staying in a toxic relationship even though it's causing distress and unhappiness, or refusing to switch to a better suited career path because of the years you've already invested in the current one. By understanding the sunk cost fallacy, we can become better decision makers and avoid investing more into something that is no longer worth it. So now, what are the negative impacts of the sunk cost fallacy? The sunk cost fallacy can lead to negative consequences, especially when it comes to relationships, careers, and investments. By staying in unhealthy relationships or investments, we risk losing sight of our own well-being and happiness. For example, continuing to invest in a failing business can lead to financial ruin and wasted resources. Staying in a toxic relationship because of the time invested in it can cause emotional distress, affect our self-esteem, and hinder our own personal growth. It's essential to reassess and consider the impact it's having on our life, even if we've already invested a significant amount of time, energy, and resources into it. So now let's look at some examples of the sunk cost fallacy. Sarah stayed in an unfulfilling relationship for 6 years because she had already invested so much time and energy into it. And despite feeling unhappy, she was afraid to start over. She didn't want to waste the years that she had already put into the relationship. And as a result, Sarah felt trapped and unable to move forward. In another example, John invested a lot of money into a failing business venture. Despite knowing that continuing to invest, he was unlikely to recover his losses, he felt like he had to keep investing. As a result, he lost even more money and was left in a worse financial position than if he had cut his losses earlier. One last example is Jennifer. And Jennifer invested a lot of time, money, and effort into her college education and career path. She had a degree in a field, but it no longer interested her, and she was so unhappy in her current job and career path. Despite feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied, Jennifer is hesitant to make a change because she feels like she's invested too much in her education and career path. The fear of losing what we have already invested can keep us from making the right decisions. It's crucial to recognize the negative impact of the sunk cost fallacy and take action to avoid falling into it. Now that we understand some of the negative impacts of the sunk cost fallacy, how can we overcome it? So here are some strategies that might help. Number 1, recognize when the sunk cost fallacy is happening. The first step is to recognize when you're falling into the sunk cost fallacy. This can be really difficult as our emotions often cloud our judgment. But if you find yourself justifying staying in a relationship or an investment solely because of the time or money you've invested, then it's time to take a step back and reassess. Number 2, reevaluate your goals and priorities. It's important to reevaluate your goals and priorities. What do you want out of life? What are your priorities in a relationship or with your career path? Is staying in your current situation aligning with your goals? If not, then it might be time to make some changes. Number 3, consider the future costs. Think about the future costs of staying in that relationship, career, or investment that's not working. How will it affect your mental health, your finances, and overall happiness? Will it be worth it in the long run? If things don't change or continue to sink, where are you going to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? Number 4, seek outside support. It can be helpful to seek outside support from friends, family, or a professional. They can sometimes offer a different perspective or a more objective point of view to help you make a more well-rounded, informed decision. Seeking professional support might also help you to process your anxiety, fears, feelings, thoughts, or any other emotions that are arising, which can help you gain greater clarity. Number 5, practice self-compassion. It's important to practice self-compassion throughout this entire process. It's okay to make mistakes and change course. Now let's also look at the benefits of letting go. Letting go of unhealthy relationships or investments can be a challenging process, but it is essential for our growth and happiness. By holding on to something that is no longer serving us, we're depriving ourselves of the opportunity to explore new possibilities and experiences that could enrich our lives. Here are some of the benefits of letting go. 1, increased happiness and fulfillment. When we let go of things that are no longer serving us, we make space for new opportunities and experiences that can bring us greater happiness and fulfillment. We free ourselves from the burden of carrying emotional or financial baggage that might be weighing us down and preventing us from moving forward. Number 2, improved mental and emotional health. Holding on to something that's no longer serving us can be stressful and exhausting, both mentally and emotionally. By letting go, we can alleviate some of the pressure and find greater peace of mind. This can lead to improved mental and emotional health and a greater sense of overall well-being. Number 3, greater clarity and focus. When we let go of something that's no longer serving us, we gain greater clarity and focus on what really matters in our lives. We can shift our attention and energy towards things that are more aligned with our values and goals, allowing us to achieve greater success and happiness. So to sum it up, letting go of unhealthy relationships or investments can be a really difficult process, but it's essential for our growth and our happiness. By recognizing and overcoming the sunk cost fallacy, we can make room for new opportunities and experiences that can bring us greater happiness and fulfillment. Please know that the sunk cost fallacy is a common mental bias that can prevent us from letting go of the things that are no longer serving us. It's important to understand that this bias affects everyone, and it's not a sign of weakness or failure. It's a natural human tendency to want to hold on to the things that we've invested our time, money, or emotions into. And it's really important to approach those who are struggling with this sunk cost fallacy, approach them with compassion and understanding. So I encourage you to apply these strategies discussed in this video and get the support that you need to let go of the things that are no longer serving you, even though it might be really difficult. Remember, it's never too late to start a new chapter in your life and find greater success and happiness. And if you need further support, check out my free resources in the description below, tune into my podcast, or reach out for one-on-one support. And thank you so much for watching.